As we promoted, Moe Khan joins us from TSN 690 Montreal, the insider of all things Montreal sports, and McGill Redmond as well. How you doing, Mo? Long time no talk, my friend.
Right, all is well. What part of Florida is Saskatchewan in now? Trying to figure that
out. We're in 306 South. How about that? We're in the South office of the 306. Yeah, Mo. And you know what? Getting ready for hockey season. There's a small but growing hockey community here that cannot wait for, as a matter of fact, not just the Panthers to get going, but the Montreal Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Saturday night, they kick off. Let's start there, if you don't mind, with the National Hockey League. And we'll mosey around to the Alouettes. But any idea what we're going to see from these Habs in the preseason? What are they looking for from their charges?
Continuity, Rod. That's what they're looking for. I mean, with the attrition of lost bodies through free agency, through defections of offer sheets and injured players for the year, this Habs team right now coming into this year has a lot more question marks, given that, again, coming off a cup run, a short off season. How well will they be able to mesh together in training camp and get things going early? Because for Dominic Ducharme, he now has a full plate now to lay down his style of play that he wants from his players. And I think from this perspective, Rod, with no Shea Weber, Jeff Petrie becomes your number one guy. So who do you pair him up with? Alexander Romanov is a guy that they're expecting to take the next step up in his career. Matthias Norlinder, who they drafted 2 years ago in the Cole Caulfield draft class, they think he could crack the lineup if he has a strong training camp himself. I think the biggest question mark will be the spine of the forwards, the center position. Nick Suzuki is your legit 1C. But after that, though, Christian Dvorak comes in. Can he be that number 2 guy? People think he can. Number 3 is up for grabs. Does Jake Evans move up from number 4 to number 3? Ryan Poehling could be a guy that could factor in as well. So there is a lot of question marks about the center position, but this team should be competitive with the wingers that they have because they have a wealth of goal scorers on each the left and right side of the formation. But at the end of the day, for this team, a lot more questions going through day one of training camp tomorrow.
Wow, very interesting. Well, let me ask you this. Where were you on the Jesperi Kotkaniemi offer sheet saga? Old licorice legs. Did you see the Habs potentially matching the offer, which they didn't do, and he's now a Carolina Hurricane? A, were you surprised how it unfolded? And B, how big of a loss is he going to be?
I was a bit surprised because, Rod, when you think about Jesperi Kotkaniemi, the Habs took him at 3 back in 2018, right? No one thought he was a top 3 pick. People thought he was a top 20 pick going to the draft board. So I thought Marc Bergevin was invested for the long-term growth of what he could be as a player. But then let's go back to the Claude Julien era of coaching, when he got demoted from Montreal to the Laval AHL team. He made a real snide comment about, hey, I have a lot more fun with Joël Bouchard as the head coach in Laval than I did before. And I think that's where the cracks start to begin for the relationship of Jesperi Kotkaniemi and the Montreal Canadiens. COVID hits, he comes back to Toronto in the bubble, does really well. Expectations are even heightened that he could take the next step in his development. That never transpired this past season. He gets benched in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup run against Tampa Bay. And that's where the end was there. And I thought the Habs would have kept him. I think Marc Bergevin was trying to play the long-term game of trying to have him, pretty much melt under the whole contract negotiations that he would sign the terms that Bergevin had for him. And look, Carolina coming out of nowhere, as they did back 2 years ago with Montreal and Sebastian Aho, comes with a big deal. And I don't fault Jesperi Kotkaniemi taking the $6 million up front because, again, this is pro sports. You got to watch out for yourself, and that's what he did. And I think for the Habs now at the number 2 position, that's going to be the question mark. Do they make the right move in terms of the long-term view of what they have, and that Christian Dvorak can replace Jesperi Kotkaniemi and do more than what he would have done if he remained a Canadian moving forward?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know how you feel about this, but Carey Price's name's been the biggest in this offseason for the Montreal Canadiens. A, being exposed for the expansion draft to Seattle, which I never thought they were going to take him, and B, his injury status. So we know he's not going to be ready to start the regular season, and I think they're okay with Jake Allen, and let's see what Caden Primo can do. But when do we see Carey Price full-time back in the crease for the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, for those who were at practice the other day, he was taking shots with the goaltending coach. And that's a first step that he could be back maybe sooner than expected. And again, Rod, when you think about this upcoming season, it'll be very truncated with the Olympic break coming up in early February. You're right about Jake Allen. They believe in him as being a strong number 2. I think the ratio of games that we could see now in a full, normal NHL season, I think Carey Price at minimum will play 50 to 55 games and allow Allen the rest of the bulk work to go towards him. and keep him fresh. And again, with you factor in Team Canada, many people here project that Carey Price will be the number one guy going to Beijing if they do end up going in February of next year. So he will have a lot on his plate. I think Carey Price will definitely be okay. But again, this is the same guy who has had his ups and downs in the city when it comes to performance, and he had his great ups during the Cup run this past summer. The question now is, can that carry over, given again, no Shea Weber, and a wealth of talent has moved on elsewhere for the season.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching the RP Show on YouTube. And don't forget, we're live daily on YouTube from noon to 2 Eastern. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. And if you like the program, check around for other segments of the Rod Pedersen Show here on YouTube.